Well, hey, everybody, this is Connor here with Born Financial Coaching. Really looking forward to our conversation today as we're going to be talking about your ultimate tax season prep list. Tax season is here, and whether you're a seasoned or first-time filer, we've all felt that last-minute scramble to gather those documents and figure out deductions, as well as meet deadlines. But what if I told you there were some ways to maybe help breeze through tax season with a little confidence? Stick around because in this episode, I'm going to break down the ultimate tax season prep list. Let's make this year the year that you feel most in control of your taxes as opposed to overwhelmed by them. So, without further ado, as what I have been doing in this new podcast iteration and YouTube video iteration here, I'm going to share my screen as we start to discuss what we're looking at here today. So, the first thing that you're going to do when you are uh, trying to get your ultimate tax season prep checklist is you're going to want to gather those income documents, right? Income documents. To start off, the foundation of your tax preparation is having the right income documents. If you're employed, you're going to need a W-2, but taxes don't just stop at W-2 income. Did you receive any 1099s for freelance work or other side gigs? How about unemployment benefits? Don't forget alimony or other forms of income like rental properties, dividends from investment, or retirement withdrawals. If you're unsure where to begin, ask this question. Did I earn money from any source this year? If the answer is yes, then trace it back to its origin and make sure that you've documented it correctly. Remember, the IRS gets copies of these forms, so if you missed one, it could lead to delayed payments or audits. So now that we've discussed gathering the income documents, we're going to talk about maximizing deductions and credits. When you maximize these deductions and credits, this is where really working with a knowledgeable tax professional could be helpful. This is where people often leave money on the table. First, let's start with your housing situation. Let's say if you're a pastor or you work in ministry, did you receive a housing allowance? If so, was it properly designated by your employer? Housing allowances can be excluded from federal income tax, but they must be properly documented, and any unused portion cannot be excluded. Beyond housing, think about major life changes. Did you get married, have a baby, buy a house, or start school? These can open the door to deductions or credits like the child tax credits or different education tax credits. For freelancers or business owners, don't forget about deductions for business expenses, equipment, home office uses, or travel. And one of my favorite tips is to keep detailed records throughout the year. Receipts, invoices, and mileage logs can be a difference between a stress-free filing and a headache. Next, we're going to talk about self-employment and special situations. If you are self-employed, your taxes do work a little bit differently. You're responsible for both income tax and self-employment tax, which covers Social Security and Medicare. That means tracking every source of income and deductible eligible expenses even more critical. A quick note, maybe for pastors or ministers, have you opted out of Social Security and Medicare using Form 4361? If so, remember this decision impacts your long-term retirement and healthcare planning. Without Social Security benefits, you'll need to rely on private savings, retirement accounts, and insurance. For those who haven't opted out, make sure you're calculating and paying self-employment tax properly. It's crucial to stay compliant while planning for your financial future. Next, we're going to be talking about tracking your expenses. This applies to everyone, but especially to those who can itemize deductions. Here are some common categories to consider. First would be medical and dental expenses. Did you pay out of pocket for doctor visits, prescriptions, or dental work? Keep those receipts. Next would be charitable contributions. Donations to qualified charities are deductible, but only if you have documentation. Next would be education costs. If you or a dependent attended college, tuition and fees may qualify for credits like the Lifetime Learning Credit or the American Opportunity Credit. And finally, you'd have retirement savings. Contributions to retirement accounts like an IRA can reduce your taxable income, so don't miss those opportunities. Those would be just a few examples of the types of credits to be looking out for. Number 5 here, we're going to talk about planning for refunds or payments. So let's talk strategy. If you're expecting a refund, think about how you can use it to improve your financial situation, pay down debt, build an emergency fund, or invest in your future. If you want to minimize that refund and get that throughout the year, there are options and opportunities to kind of change your withholding, especially if you're with a smaller company. That would be one way to potentially tweak that refund if that's something that you are expecting at the end of the year. But what if you owe taxes? Don't panic. You have options. You can set up a payment plan with the IRS or adjust your withholding, just as I talked about as it relates to expecting a refund. If you owe, you can, that works both ways as well. You can adjust that withholding to avoid that repeat. Proactive planning makes a huge difference. Also, just consider they do have pay by refund type services. So that could be a potential route to consider as well. And finally, we're going to talk about avoiding just some common mistakes. Just a few things that can come up and can be avoided and really should be avoided. First off is missing deadlines. April 15th or an adjusted date, like if you extend, that is when taxes are due. So April 15th is a big day. If you are extending, you need to have your paperwork filed even before that date. Inaccurate information. Be sure to double check Social Security numbers, account numbers, and your filing status. And forgetting to sign and file. It sounds simple, but it happens more than you'd think. An unsigned return is considered incomplete. And if you're unsure about anything in that tax process, do not hesitate to work with a tax professional. They can help you avoid costly mistakes and identify opportunities that you may have overlooked. So that's it. That's your ultimate tax season prep checklist. Whether you're filing on your own or working with a professional, staying organized and informed is the key to success. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with someone who could use a little tax prep help this season. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Here's to a stress-free tax season and setting yourself up for financial success in 2025. See you soon. Thanks for stopping by. This has been Connor Bourne with Bourne Financial Coaching. Connor is an independent investment advisor representative affiliated with Registered Investment Advisor Strategic Blueprint. Everything we discussed today on the financial front are principles that can be applied to certain circumstances that may or may not be yours. Therefore, please do not consider this individual advice because I do not know your personal circumstances. For such advice, please reach out at cbourne@bournefinancialcoaching.com.